We're Keika and Manu, by the way.
And we're traveling around the world.
Follow us. Take a good look because in a few minutes we'll be walking right in there. We're going to cross its streets, walk its walls, and show you what it's really like to live in this place from the inside. Not from the typical photo, but step by step, as if you were right here with us. Because Mont Saint-Michel isn't just what you see from the outside, it's everything that happens when you start exploring it. We're at one of the most photographed sites in France and one of the most visited in all of Europe, Mont Saint-Michel. Mont Saint-Michel is a rocky island. As you can see, there's an abbey inside. Construction on the abbey began in the year 966. And today, between businesses, shops and homes, there are about 50 people living permanently on the island. It is, as I was saying, one of the most visited places, with 2.5 million people coming here every year to see it. As I mentioned, it's an island. In fact, the strongest tides in all of Europe occur right here. The difference between high tide and low tide is up to 10 meters. That allows everything here at low tide. The walkway, you'll see it better from the walkway now. All of this becomes, let's say, dry land. In other words, there's no water between where we are now and the island. It's at high tide that it becomes an island again and is once more surrounded by water. Until some time ago, you could only access the Mont, or the Wonder as they call it, at low tide. Thanks to the platform we're about to cross, it can be accessed at any time. And I'll tell you the two ways. Walking, just like we're doing right now, and really enjoying the beautiful scenery around us, or taking the shuttles, which are currently free and run all day long, from the parking area to the Mont. You have a couple of great ways to get there. There's also another alternative we looked into, but it wasn't possible due to the weather, though it's very popular in the summer, which is hiring a guide. There are several companies in the area that do this, and it's obviously recommended to book in advance, where you go barefoot with a guide. Across all the sand, you can only do it with a guide. There's quicksand. It's a very dangerous area, but at low tide you walk to the island. They also say that the tides here rise very quickly. In fact, locals say that the high tide gallops in like a horse as it rises, and it's I repeat, very dangerous area. We, in any case, just like everyone around us, are going to go safely along the walkway. The whole island inside is cobblestone streets, and as you can see, uphill, and we're going to get as high up as possible. We're going to try to enter the Abbey. It's about 11 euros per person to enter, and if you want to reach the highest peak of the mount, you have to enter the Abbey no matter what. I'd been wanting to come to this place for years.
Check out this fact that Keika just said it was built in the year 966.
At least it started being built then, yes.
That's honestly just crazy, seeing the building for what it truly is. When you look at it, you see those incredible facts and those impressive monuments, all with that stunning and unique architecture.
Factors such as the weather and the tides.
It's crazy to build something like that in that era. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It looks alien, really. Everything's so symmetrical, so perfectly made. The truth is that
It's been happening to us since we went to Egypt. I don't know, we still believe in the hypotheses.
It's just crazy, huh? It's crazy.
About the aliens.
And generations work on it. Fathers, sons, their sons, because it takes hundreds of years to do. But you just don't see that nowadays.
The most impressive thing is that the issue of, as you say, how complicated it is today. Imagine in that era with this cold that's here half the year. And with the tide issue, since there was no walkway back then, I mean, how did they carry all this? With donkeys, with cows, with...
That's what really impresses us, the architecture, the era it was made in, and the magnitude. I mean, it's crazy.
The truth is, it looks like a floating castle, especially last night. We arrived here late in the afternoon and at sunset with the mist, and all it looks like a floating castle. The Abbey was a military fortress during the Middle Ages. After the French Revolution, it became a prison. And after the 19th century, it returned to its religious function, so to speak, and in fact, as of today, it's one of the most important religious symbols in all of France. Since the year 1979, it has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site. As you can see, it's low tide right now, and there's practically no water around the island. Like I was telling you just a moment ago, that during low tide, everything around here just empties out, even though we mentioned earlier that there were walking tours and that they weren't usually done in winter. We think we've spotted some people walking around the back of the island. Okay, so if you want to go on this adventure, keep in mind that it's done barefoot. The water in some areas can reach your knees, and you have to keep in mind that this water must be freezing right now. But we didn't want to give you any incorrect information. It's very likely that in winter, although less frequently, the activities of walking towards Le Mont are also carried out. I'm even learning French from this. Well, it seems that people here don't take it very seriously about not walking on the sand because of the quicksand and it being dangerous. But anyway, we wanted to take advantage because in a few hours it will be high tide and this will be surrounded by water. So we want to record both high tide and low tide so you can see the difference. And definitely, if the castle coming along the walkway is impressive, once you're here, it's incredible. And this that just failed next to Manolo is because it was blowing around over there. And once again, we've seen fit to pick it up and throw it in the trash. I'm sure that whoever ended up drinking it could have just as easily done the same thing too, likewise. Look at that, the trash can is right there, where that yellow thing is. Suso is running in. I don't know if we've already told you, but happily, because we're going by the weather and with enough time so that we can see everything properly, we ended up here on a Saturday, so we could really take it all in. Well, Manolo, look at the prices so you can see. What you will find, and there's no shortage of our restaurants. Incredible, right? It's full of restaurants, creperies, souvenir shops. Yes, it really is. The first stretch is just that. No medieval people, but there are more restaurants than in Spain. That's saying something. The Grande Rue, the only street that has crossed the entire Mont for centuries. On the left is Saint-Pierre Church, built in the 14th century and still in use today. At the top we see the Abbey, which supposedly began construction after the Archangel Saint Michael appeared to Bishop Aubert. It's built on solid rock and was expanded successively for almost 1,000 years. At high tide, this place would become completely isolated. For hours you couldn't get in or out. Well, we said 11, but the information we saw isn't up to date. It's a bit more, 13 euros per adult. And there you can see the opening hours, which in summer from May to late August are 9 to 7. And from September 1st to April 30th, they close an hour earlier at 6 and open at 9:30. Look, there's another island. Impressive to see the whole island surrounded by sand, huh? And that in a few hours it will all be covered in water. Well, in fact, you can see the marks there of where the water reaches at high tide. So doing a 360 of all sand and knowing that in a couple of hours it'll all be, well, if the tide, they say it's one of the strongest tides and can vary by up to 10 meters. Between high and low tide, it means it rises very, very much. We're walking along the outer wall, built between the 13th and 15th centuries to protect the mount during the 100 Years' War. And there's a key fact. It was never conquered by the English despite being completely surrounded by their territories in Normandy. The houses we see here with timber framing are typical of the area. Many of them are over 500 years old and belonged to merchants and families who lived inside the mount. This place once had a small, stable community, but today only a few dozen people live here. And now we've reached the cemetery. It's small, but it's still active. Something unusual for such a touristy place. For centuries, being buried here had a special value because it was considered to be under the direct protection of the Archangel, Saint Michael. And this is the fact that almost no one knows. Mont Saint-Michel has changed several times from island to peninsula and back to island due to human works that altered the tides. In fact, until 2015, it was practically connected to the mainland, and they had to build an elevated bridge to restore its original isolation. Well, and that's the end of our visit to Mont Saint-Michel. Very beautiful, a very worthwhile visit. We're leaving. High tide is at 6:30 in the evening, which is already dark here in winter. So we won't be able to see it. We'll put up some images. And a must-see visit, right? Yes, super beautiful, super cozy in there. Grateful not to have come in summer, because if there are people now in summer, it must be... Well, maybe it's because today is Saturday, is more or less a day of... No. Sure. No? Well, try to always come in winter and during the week. Because look, the day here, they say that in Normandy, and it's true, in one day you can have all 4 seasons. And it's true, it dawned raining, it poured down like you wouldn't believe, it dawned with mist, cloudy, and now even the sun came out. In a little while it will get cloudy again and it will rain again, but for sure. They also said it was going to be windy and it hasn't been, so just get out there and if you can only come in summer, then come in summer and enjoy it. Look at the people walking around there through the... It gets to me because we read so much. Yesterday, so many warnings not to walk because of how dangerous the sands are. And we even see children. A little further back, look at the children right there. Well, that's just how we humans are, right? Rules are meant to be broken, apparently. Mont Saint-Michel receives more than 3 million visitors a year. And even so, as you move away, you see why it's as impressive as it was centuries ago. It is without a doubt one of the most striking places we've seen in France. But it doesn't end here, because what's next in Normandy completely changes the context. In just a few kilometers, you go from a medieval icon like this to some of the most important sites of World War II. And that's exactly what we're going to see in the next videos. So subscribe and turn on notifications because we're still touring France, and what's next is pure history.